What's going on, guys? I hope you're having a great day out there. So, guys, this is kind of a little after bash video and shop time after the day of chaos and mayhem in Ohio with RC for us and Black Sheep RC. You guys watch those videos. We had an absolute blast up there, but the BMX track and the skate park definitely put a beating on some of my cars. But I'm not going to go through each one of these, the whole step through, but I'm going to kind of go over each car, what broke on them, and getting them fixed, hopefully. A couple of them, like the Typhon, I'm waiting for new rear A-arms to come in for that, but everything else, for the most part, I have the parts for. The poor Creighton XL, she got the dirtiest one. I was not going in that mud hole to retrieve this thing, so I know this thing needs all new tires, or 3 of them at least, and the new rear A-arm, and that should be it for that, I hope. The Outcast 4S, I'm hoping I just got to pop this front hinge pin back in. I'm hoping it's not broken. I can't really see it from here, but the chassis does have a slight crack in it, but guys, any of you guys have seen that hit. I mean, that brace, had I not had that brace, I feel pretty confident that that chassis would have been in 2 pieces. But hopefully that should be an easy fix. The X-Maxx will be an easy fix. I just got to get the pinion back on there. And I think that's about it. So it's not terrible, but I got a little bit of work to do. The Traxxas sledge, the only one that came home in one piece, guys. And this thing just performed amazing. And the new emulsion shock setup from M2C Racing on this car made the biggest difference I've ever seen on a car, suspension-wise. I mean, this thing landed so plush and so nice now. But nice part is I don't have to do any work on a sledge. But anyway, guys, we're going to work on the Techno first. I think I just need shock ends and get the front center drive shaft back in and a few little bits and pieces. But I'll let you guys know here in a moment when she's fixed and what was all needed. All right, guys. Well, the Techno is back in order. Just had to replace the shock end. Got the factory one on there because the last time I actually broke one of those, I ended up putting an armor one on there. And it held up fine, but this thing just overflexed when it cased it on the top of that jump, which is why it popped the screw out and why it overextended the A-arm and ripped the shock rod out. But guys, I mean, this thing held up phenomenal out there. Had a blast with the Techno at the track. But she's all back together again, so first one down. Well, I just got the Outcast on the bench here. Looking at the hinge pin real quick, and it's worse than I thought. It actually did break. Kind of hard to see, but right here, it split. It broke the whole front side of that one side of the bulkhead off. I mean, when this thing whipped around that 360 bowl, it tagged this front corner, this whole front corner of the car, and I'm not surprised, but this is going to require a little more time and a little more work. So I might move on to a couple of the easier things real quick and get the X-Maxx fixed up and maybe the dirty Creighton 6S. But I think I'm going to leave this one for last because I don't feel like tearing this all apart right this second. All right, well, we got the good old X-Maxx out here. And again, this thing, I couldn't believe the abuse this thing put up with the skate park. And the only thing I lost was my pinion came off. And it's weird because I usually never, ever have these problems with pinions coming off. But something weird either happened that didn't glue, the Loctite down enough, or I don't know. But we'll tear it open, clean everything up really good with some brake cleaner, and re-Loctite her again, and she probably won't come off. But other than that, I can't see any other damage anywhere, guys. Everything else looks pretty solid on this thing. It put up with that same smack on the 360 loop as the Outcast did, and I'm surprised it's in one piece. But I'm going to go ahead and just get the pinion back on here again, and this will be an easy fix. All right, so I'm kind of confused. I got my pinion tightened up, and as I was doing that, I noticed my main spur cush drive was kind of flopping around. And every one, two, three, all 3 screws are gone. Now, I don't even know how this happened. I don't see the screws. I don't know how they all came out. And I'm pretty sure I would have noticed this thing a lot sooner had I not put those screws in there. I mean, I won't ever put it past myself, it was a late night, maybe trying to rush, but that seems kind of weird, guys. Lost all 3 screws out of the main gear, so I want to put new screws in here, and hopefully she'll be back together now. Well, even though I have no idea how I could have missed putting 3 screws in there, I'm going to take ownership for that because honestly, it's making sense. Maybe if those screws were never in there, that's why it literally pulled the pinion off of there because the grub screw was still tight. It may have been wiggling around so much. I don't know, but I'll take ownership for it. I'm not really sure what happened there. But anyway, guys, the rest of the X-Maxx is good to go again. Let the Loctite set up for at least a couple days. It'll be able to dry for a couple days before I take this thing back out again. But the X-Maxx is fixed up and ready to roll. All right, well, the next up is the rather dirty Creighton Success XL. This one isn't too bad. As you guys can see, this I think is the only tire that survived the day. All the other ones have blown off, foams have blown out, tires have blown apart. This tire is completely gone, and this one is also blown apart somewhere. The foam's ripped out of it. I know there's a hole in here because the foam came shooting out of it. And this one, obviously. So I got 2 brand new tires and I got 1 used tire. I'm gonna go ahead and get new tires on here, but this A-arm did pop out and break, and I bent the pin. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this unfortunately dirty piece out of here, and we'll get the A-arm changed out. And I think I got to rebend this back hinge pin. At some point, I got to put on the M2C Racing locking hinge pins on this one. These are still the stock Creighton EXB ones, but I'm going to go ahead and get started on this, and I'll bring you guys back when she's a one piece again. All right, guys. Well, the Creighton XL is all back together again. I only had 1 new back tire, actually. The other one was a 4S backflip, but I had a couple other used ones that were still in really good shape, so I slapped them on here. But what I ended up having to do to this thing was obviously replace the rear A-arm. The hinge pin was really bent, so I straightened that back out again. The bearings on this side were totally shot on the hub, so I put all new bearings in there. And basically went over everything else, made sure everything was tight and all back together. And she's still dirty, but it's fixed and ready to roll again. And that's what's important. And, you know, give her a bath here at some point. It's a little chilly today outside, so I don't really feel like going out there and dealing with the hose. But anyway, Creighton XL's fixed and ready to go in. The body, am gonna clean up because it's nasty. As soon as you touch it, dirt just starts falling off of it. So I am gonna get that clean. But now we're gonna move on to probably the Typhon and do as much as I can with it until I get the other parts. All right, well, we got the Typhon 6S out now. And as you guys can see, I mean, all the tires on it. This one's gone. This one, all the foam's balled up in one spot here. That one's completely blown apart. And this one, I think might be the only one. Oh, it's unglued on the inside. Yeah, so I got no good tires. Other than that, I'm going to get the tires changed out on here. But I got to wait for some parts to show up. I've got a broken rear A-arm here. And this front drive shaft is just free spinning, as you guys can see. It sheared off all the little tabs on the drive cup there. So drive shaft is gone, and it's in bad shape. Besides that, I think that's it. So I'm going to get some new tires on this and at least get it sitting on some wheels again. And then that's all I'm really going to be able to do with this thing for today, unfortunately, because I got to wait for those parts to show up. But this might turn into another part video at some point. I don't know. Just kind of figured, you know, a lot of guys wanted to see some bench videos and after bash videos and what happened. So I figured I'd bring you guys along today. All right, well, we got some new, well, not new, but good tires under this thing again. But I also just noticed this. My motor is loose off of the front plate. So I'm going to pull this out, get the screws tightened up. And I got to put some rear support because this one, I never put any rear support under this motor. And as you guys have seen, this thing has taken some hard slappers off the ramp and everything else. So I might heat up the old glue gun and fill it underneath there with hot glue because that's what I've been doing to most of them, and it's worked out pretty well. Alrighty, well, I'm waiting for the glue gun to heat up here. I got the motor back in, everything tightened up. And all I do, if I can get a good angle at it, is literally that little gap underneath there. I just pump that whole gap between the chassis and the motor, fill it with hot glue until it starts coming out on either side in one good spot, about a 1-inch wide piece, and let that seal up. The nice part is you can break it loose easy enough, come off the chassis when you got to take the motor in and out. You know, the hot glue will pop off the chassis pretty easy or off the motor. But it helps keep that so that motor isn't slapping on the chassis, obviously. Also, guys, I just came up the other day when we were just out bashing. And these leads, as you guys know, come loose. Now, I'm sure many of you guys know this, but I figured anybody out there that's maybe newer, what you want to do is take a razor blade and you see the little crosshatch in here, you want to basically just jam the razor blade in there, both directions, down in that little X. Not the whole way, but about halfway down, maybe, you know, a little over, about 2/3. Well, no, probably less than half, like I said. But anyway, what that will do with the razor blade, well, it will widen that out perfectly so that it tightens up your lugs again. Because if these get loose, you start losing power, they overheat, and they will melt your connections off. So do that regularly. I'd say every couple runs, grab your razor blade or something and just widen those little tabs out. You don't want to go too crazy because they will overflex and then snap. But don't be scared. Just put the blade down in there about halfway until you see those open up a little bit. All right, guys, so I got a light down there so you guys can see how much I filled in here under the motor and between the chassis to help support this motor. Like I said, you can use a chunk of rubber. You can use whatever you want. I know lots of guys jam pieces of rubber under there. There's different supports and stuff. But I've been using hot glue. It gives it a little bit of cushion, but it also keeps that thing braced pretty well. So I've had good luck with it. But, you know, use what you want. All right, guys. Well, the Typhon's about halfway back together again. A few little bits and pieces, easy fixes. Like I said, that's going to change the A-arm and the front drive shaft out. But at least you got some wheels under it again, got the motor fixed, and it's supported. And that's going to do it. I think with the Outcast, I'm going to maybe turn it into a whole separate video of replacing the chassis under that thing. Because, I mean, it does take a little bit of time, and I think we'll make its own video out at some point. It'll be a good rainy day thing. But that is going to do it for this one today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the little after bash video, and you know, what all stuff broke out there. It was a blast, but definitely had a few major, a few minor, and some rather easy breakages, but it was a great time and well worth it. And again, guys, I want to send a big thank you out to Mike from RC for Us and Kenny from Black Sheep RC. I had a great time out there, guys, and thanks for the invite. But that is going to do it for today, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it. So until next time, y'all be safe, be careful out there. Peace out, everybody.